But
That's
because
good.
you're not.
But anyway, you have to look at the country.
For the fire. I know, right? I know. I wish I had a real good.
First, we're gonna establish, we do have a quorum, and then let's do the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So far, so good. So let's first move to approve the agenda for today.
I move to approve the agenda.
All in favor? Okay, great. Do I have to renew the agenda? No. Perfect, okay. Let's move to approve the consent agenda. I move to approve the consent agenda for today. Second.
Second.
All in favor? Motion passes. Move to special presentations. Do we have our student representative? Hello.
Where do you want me to stand?
Anywhere you would like.
Okay, great, I'll just stand over here. So we had a very busy time this past month at CHS. Leadership organized a food drive by the class. And congrats to Mr. Hollingsworth's class for contributing the most food and stock items to the food drive. However, it really took the whole school to put together. We ended up creating 7 complete Thanksgiving meals for Looking Glass families and sent them hundreds of socks for unhoused youth. We also created 10 complete Thanksgiving meals for local Creswell families and then donated another 7 turkeys to local families. And the remaining food items are all being donated to the Creswell Food Pantry. And then Mr. Hollingsworth's class, and it earned a trip to Dubai for having the most donations. And then winter sports are underway, so basketball, wrestling, and cheer, Mountain Washington event if you want to support the high school. And then National Honor Society also had a lot of things going on this year. They had a holiday giving kind of program where $800 was raised through a holiday fundraiser to support a family of 5, 4 kids and a mom. And then the top fundraisers got to actually buy the items for the families. So they got things like bikes, helmets, clothes, diapers, formula, food, snow pants, jackets, toys, books, and other household items the family needed. And then the students actually got to go deliver those things in person today to the families, which is special. And then National Honor Society also did a diaper drive this past month. NHS kids went to help repack diapers with a local organization in groups of 25. And then Catherine Dumas reported that the diapers from the diaper bank came back to support Creswell families. And lastly, National Honor Society also volunteered at the Festival of Trees in Eugene over Thanksgiving break as a mandatory volunteering event. And then Sources of Strength student training was held this last week for the first time, and 40 students participated in the first training. And Sources of Strength is a peer support initiative. Leadership is wrapping up our week before winter break with the Spirit Week. So Monday was Hip to Slope theme, Tuesday was Ugly Sweaters, and then during wind, they passed out Honko candy canes to students. Today was Holiday Socks and Headwear theme. And then during advisory, they got to watch winter movies and play board games. And then tomorrow's theme is Winter Wonderland Whiteout. They're gonna make snowflakes. And then Friday is Holiday Pajama Day. And then the seniors versus staff will have a basketball game. And then the winning team will receive a prize. And then at the end of the day, they'll be karaoke. And that's it.
Very nicely done. Thank you. Okay, thank you, that was excellent. Our next item will be a presentation from Lane ESD.
Great. All right. Well, thanks for having us. I'm Tony Spiro, Superintendent of Lane ESD. And here with a couple of our guests joining me. Sherry Higgins, who we've met before. She's visited here several times. Longstanding board member for Lane ESD and who's neighbors to the south end schools. And then also with me tonight is Eric Anderson, who started this year as our new assistant superintendent. So we want to come along and meet some of our component school district boards. I'm here tonight because we want to talk about some of the services that we offer to the Creswell School District. And it's that time of year where we ask our school boards to approve with the local police. And so the state requires education service districts to have a local service plan to serve the needs of students in the component school districts in which we serve. So there's 16 districts in Lane County, and the law requires us to provide services in special education, school improvement, technology, and also administrative services. And to do that, we're in a school formula, so we get 4.5% of the state's is distributed to 19 ESDs, and then we break it down at Lane ESD based upon the number of students that each district has in Lane County. So in the past side, I believe in your packet you have the full local service plan. It's a pretty thick packet, but what you don't have in there are the specific services that Creswell School District ordered. I'm going to show you what those are. This also shows the amount of money that was allotted to the Creswell School District from our ESD funds, and that number is at the upper right-hand corner. And so out of all the services that we offer, what's not on here, I should say, are technology services, because those are considered a core service, meaning that every single district in Lane County, no matter how big or how small, contributes money to run our technology department. Same is true of our school improvement department, that it's kind of like a curriculum department, and you think of, well, you may have some curriculum personnel, they share other duties that they do in the district. But a district like Eugene Forget has their own curriculum department, yet they still contribute to the school improvement, which essentially runs curriculum for other districts. It's not that they don't use it, even though they have their own curriculum department, because they do partner with our curriculum specialists on quite a few endeavors. But other than the core services, then the services you see here are services that districts can purchase, and each district purchases slightly different things on here. Heaviest purchase by far among districts in the county are special education services. And you'll note that with what you're getting here in Creswell. I'll also say that we're very appreciative of the partnership we have in life skills classrooms, special ed classrooms. We get 2 classrooms we operate right here in your district, at Creswell Elementary and Creswell. And that makes it a regionally a very efficient way of not having to ship kids all across the county to those programs. So, and looking over the things you order, there are, I'd say, half the districts in Lane County don't spend all of their allotment. You're in the half that spends their allotment and then more. And I think that's primarily due to the number of special ed services that you're purchasing. The local service plan needs to be approved annually by the superintendent council. That was done on November 21st. The meeting was a unanimous vote. Our school board at Lane ESD made this an action item at our December 5th meeting, and we're asking our component school districts to vote on whether or not to approve this by March 1st. So you're the second board in Lane County to get this presentation, so you have time. If there's something you want to move tonight, that's great. If you wanted to wait and know more about what's in it and take a longer look, you have time to do. So with that, I'll adjourn on the manner this morning. I'll take questions tonight, and also questions between now and March 1st or after. Very question.
Maybe add one more.
I have a comment. This is super helpful. Thank you so much for seeing the detail, because your service plan, while we looked at it and read it, you know, especially in previous years, is very consuming. So it's great to see kind of like a cheat sheet of specifically what Creswell uses. So thank you for doing that.
So one thing I'll add on that note is that the local service plan has now incorporates our Student Investment Act comprehensive support plan. It's a separate pot of money, but it's still part of the local service plan. That doesn't come out of the state school fund. That comes out of the Student Investment Act or the Student Success Act. And we've been able to staff quite a few folks in that are providing guidance to districts in things like blending the integrated guidance, blending the different state initiatives together instead of keeping them separate. So that's one of the things that's working. And if you look at the back at the Student Investment Act plan, it's more charts than it is narrative. we're kind of looking at how we might better present this local service plan in a narrative and have maybe something smaller that still has some pertinent information, especially now in this electronic age where you can click on something to expand if you want to know more. But if you want to know, here's the service, here's kind of the cost of it, it might be a little easier. We're thinking about doing that for the next, not the 24-25, but the 25-26 year.
Very cool. So the SIA funding is in addition, the services funded through that for you guys that float us is in addition to this.
Right, the amount you see up here is merely the amount that is in the state school fund,
Okay.
broken down to Creswell. The Student Investment Act money, I think it's over 2 million that we've got for the biennium. And that provides actually a lot of support in school improvement. So what's happened is the core for school improvement shrunk, and the SIA's picked up more of that. That's what we do to the SIA plan, really focusing on providing equitable instruction and equitable practices for students who can serve and underserved. So our department was doing some of that already. We were able to move some of the folks who were doing that into the SIA fund. So the actual amount of the cost of local services for the state school has actually gone down.
So this may be a tangent from the actual plan, from the agenda, but it raises a question for me. When the SIA funding came in, I did not think it was supposed to supplant general fund from the state. So with what you just said, does that mean Lane ESD did not get the full increase from SIA? The SIA fund supplanted the state school fund?
No, it didn't supplant. What happens is we've got some positions that are hybrid positions. We've always had that. And so some of that was naturally doing what the plan called. So the other thing our services have to make sure we don't do is offer any direct services to students. So our services in the SIA are pretty much professional development or staff to staff. And we could, there's other agencies we've all kind of moved. I think there's a couple of agencies that have almost all their school improvement that's done out of the SIA. So
Okay, so not supplantation, but instead you shuffle things around, but you still got a full increase from the SIA. Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. All right, thank you.
okay. Well, thanks again.
Well, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
That overview. Moving right along, and I do apologize, that's like, issue. Gosh, Ellen, DHS student trip to Italy.
Yes. First, I'd like to thank Corey Downer for introducing me to this and encouraging me and supporting me and attempting to bring this idea for you guys. And mostly, I think I'll just start by giving you a little of my history. When I was in high school, I was a foreign exchange student, and it was by far one of the most impactful and life-altering experiences I had. And I have always wanted to pass that on in a way that I can. So when she suggested that I maybe take tours in the opposite years that she does, and maybe to some of the non-Spanish speaking countries, I don't know if she knew I was gonna dive right in so quickly, but I was in. So initially I wanted to maybe attempt a German trip because we have German pen pals that we've started a program having the students write letters back and forth. And I thought, well, the freshmen last year started this, and they'll be seniors when it's kind of a fun time for them to travel. But after discussing and kind of polling the sophomore class, they were much more into Italy. They're the ones that I need to want to go. So we just, readjusted the agenda. And so I don't know if you all have any questions about this. This is the company that Corey has used several times. And so I feel like it's a pretty familiar, something to use, but
If you have students that really want to go already that you know of.
I have been dropping little hints here and there. I haven't wanted to speak about it too much. I will say, they recommend 18 months before the date, and by the time I have this meeting, possibly have your approval and get to start campaigning, it will be at the 17-month mark to have a parent meeting. So I kind of want to, be able to dive in. And so I've sort of tried to and I had to pull some of the history classes. I asked the world history classes, if you had these 4 places to choose from, if we were going to do such a thing, what would you like? And they were overwhelmingly, towards Italy.
Gonna be hot.
I went to Italy this summer. They're hot.
Lots of places are hot. Yeah, it was 110. The Mediterranean. They will be experiencing hot culture.
Yeah. So any kid in the school can choose to participate in this as long as they'll still be a student, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And is it just all funded through fundraising or?
We can do fundraising. Most of it will have to be parent funding, I believe, and due to the timing, because I didn't want to skip an opportunity and wait to 2027, so I thought I would attempt to make this work.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it will have to be personal funding. I'm happy to fundraise and help fundraising. When I went as a child, I had to do 100% fundraising, so it was a great way for me to understand my personal community of support, my community more widely across the city, and, you know, find ways to make it happen for myself, so.
Is it comparable to how much 4-H programs cost?
It is, yeah. Yeah, there is, just slightly more because it's further away, the travel is a little bit more complicated, but, I kept it within one country. When you go to Europe, as soon as you start hopping other countries, it became exceedingly more, so I wanted to keep it as low as I possibly could, but also offer a European sort of destination or something a little bit further away.
I also did it when I was that age and it was a life changing.
It really is changing your perspective on a global way in the physical realm is really life altering. So I think good for our kids.
Anybody else have any questions?
Just a comment, I know Ms. Hoggart's gonna start doing interview coaching for kids. This could be a really good opportunity for our kids to enter a workforce and get a job. Yeah. Pay for their wage.
Agreed.
To travel. I will be encouraging that. I will, yeah. I will be encouraging that. I feel like there's a definite sense of, you know, self-responsibility for that type of thing and giving ways for it to be good. So that's a big part of it.
Thank you, Cash.
Yes, of course, thank you. Thanks for stepping into the space and wanting to be interested in it. Oh, yeah, it's gonna be exciting.
If we approve it, you have to do one of the presentations Corey always does.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Thank you.
If you're here and you were done with your presentation and you wanted to scoot out, you are free to do that. You don't have to stay for the entire meeting. We know you have. I know. You know, great to listen to, whenever you just wanna leave and you can take on then possibly we'll just go down as well. Feel free, we are not offended. All right. The, our superintendent report, Mr. Johnson.
Okay, I've provided you with some updates and listed my activities for the month of October or November. Some of the highlights that I had were, well, I highlight were the Kinderfest feast at Thanksgiving, and watching those littles eat their soup and wear their headbands and all that stuff. They were so excited. The hardest sit still to eat that soup, but it was awesome. Every classroom, they were totally engaged in it. And then the Kinder Balloon March through the halls here, another one, just followed up that one a couple weeks later. Lots of fun. The OSBA convention was really good. I had a good time there. I know we talked a lot about the presentations and the education that they provided there as a group. We talked about our experience, and I highlighted it later on in the agenda and open up to talk about what we did experience there a little bit. And then as far as bond projects go, the renovated classroom at the high school or at the middle school is done and it's in operation. So they are using it currently. After the winter, we'll take everything out of there. They have the winter storage stuff in there for the Santa Village thing giveaway. Once that's over, then we'll go in and finish it up with the floors, but it's occupied. And then the Pacific Power has been working on the installation of the electric terminal out there. So that'll be up and going, and then we'll trench it and hook them up, and we'll have field lights out there at the middle school as well. And that's what I have for my highlights. Any questions on any of the activities or anything that I listed?
I can't believe you got so much done at the elementary school.
At the elementary school?
Yeah.
All the
Like the
updates here.
flooring and the lighting, like that really did to get done in a summer. So that's impressive.
Yeah,
I just expected it to go over and take more time.
Have you been able to watch that a little bit?
yeah, all the electrical, well, this room isn't done, but in the classrooms were first. So all the electrical upgrades and all of the fixture is completed this week. Now they're working on the offices, and then they'll come back and finish up this room. And they'll be all done Friday with this building. And yeah, and painting is being finished this week as well on the exterior in the back of the building. So it's going good. Moving right along.
Speaking of moving right along, we'll move right along to public comments. I do, thank you so much.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
There is one person registered to speak this evening. I have a thing to read. Doug, if you want to, you can if you want to. Speakers may offer objective criticism of district operations and programs, but Oregon law prohibits the board from hearing complaints concerning district personnel. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. We'll give you a signal when 3 minutes is up, so you may finish your thought. When I call your name, please speak your name, the community of residents, and share your comments. Please direct your comments to the board. Do not address questions to the board. The board's goal for the public comment period is to listen to concerns, comments, and opinions. The board will not respond to your testimony. So Doug, you can come up and.
Hi, I'm Doug Allison. I am one of the coaches at the middle school football team. We have 7 community members that currently coach the middle school team. 3 of them are dads, but they've all agreed to stay on next year, even though only one of them will have a child there. So we are excited to have community involvement at the middle school level in athletics. We also had one high school student that was an assistant coach for us all year this year, and I'm trying to hold him in his chair right now. It's a thrill. But one day we got out on the field, and as we had been instructed by Brandy Wittenborn with the high school boys soccer team, we lined up and began going around the field, both at the perimeter of the athletic field and then on the track and then outside the track. 2 of our students discovered a scorched area of the athletic field and began just screaming at the rest of us. Look, somebody's burned our field. On that day, as well as others, we find a bucket full of candy wrappers, of cigarette butts. We find an occasional needle and an occasional condom. Don't want my football students, athletes to experience that. We have a lot of fun out there. What we cannot afford to do is offer facilities for our players that also, due to our neglect, can cause injuries. And cause things to happen to them. So, in spite of the fact that it really goes against everything in me to do something that could potentially prohibit someone from being out on those fields whenever they would like to be, I really recommend that we go ahead as a school district and build these fences. I think it will protect our kids. As much as I want access to those fields whenever I want there, I know that's not the mandate of the school district. It's to teach kids from kindergarten through 12th grade. And I believe that's what you should do. As I conclude, so that you know where I stand. In football, we have offense and defense, that we work on hard. I believe you need to beef up defense. Did you get it?
Thank you,
This is how
Doug.
this joke just died, right? Beef up defense.
Thank you, Doug. I need an explanation. Thank you, guys. All right, which brings us into our unfinished business this evening. So our first item is have a motion to,
I move to approve school safety and security.
Done.
wait, do we have any discussion?
Do you have any updates or things we should talk about?
So CSD priority. At the Creswell School District, our number one priority is the safety and security of our students. Since 2008, we have been actively adding to the levels of safety and security at Creswell School District. With a multi-tiered approach that includes a 2018 assessment of our schools from the Lane County Sheriff's Department, which is tied to national guidance from Homeland Security. We are making proactive strides to further enhance the safety of our students. School safety and security. In 2018 and 2020, the Lane County Sheriff's Office conducted school security assessments for all 3 schools. The security assessments were aligned to the federal K-12 school security guide developed by the Federal Security Agency, which includes the Department of Homeland Security. The assessment focuses on 4 layers of security for school safety. The grounds, property, perimeter layer, which outlines the outer boundary of the school campuses. The school ground, campus layer, which encompasses the athletic fields, parking lot, and other outdoor spaces, playgrounds, and other outdoor space that is part of the school's campus. The building perimeter layer, or walls that enclose the building, and the building interior layer, which comprises of all spaces inside school buildings, such as administrative offices, hallways, cafeterias, classrooms, gymnasiums, etc. All areas within the wall. The assessments by the Lane County Sheriff's Office determined that our schools and facilities had excessive vulnerability due to threats to students, vulnerability to threats to student and staff safety and criminal activity. That was the outcome of their assessment. The Lane County Sheriff's Office made several recommendations to increase security for safety of our schools, staff, and crime prevention. Among them, reduce the access points to the property and continue the 6-foot cyclone fencing on the east and west property line. Add fencing around the school buildings and sports fields. So the outer perimeter and then the school grounds. From a legal perspective, our legal counsel provided an opinion. So long as the district is building the fence on its property and is relying upon recent survey lines to guarantee that's the case, and there are no easements for any of the property owners on district property, there should be no issue with building the fence. There is no right to access district property, even if they have done so for years as neighbors to the district. Everyone can appreciate that school safety is a legitimate reason to build fences despite the community inconvenience. The district's second counsel, an opinion. Potentially, the absence of a fence could support a complaint or a claim by someone that the district was negligent and that the district's negligence resulted in them being injured. This would depend on particular facts. For example, if a third party were to enter the property without permission and injure a student or a staff person, The injured party might argue that the district was partially responsible for their injury because there was an offense. The fact that there was a recommendation by the Lane County Sheriff's Department in 2018 is something that the injured party could learn through discovery. This fact could potentially bolster the injured party's argument that the district was negligent. Community expectation. As a result of the 2019-20 and 2022-23 strategic planning processes to improve Creswell schools, the community prioritized school safety and security as the top priority. In a recent bond survey, the Creswell community also prioritized school safety and security as the #1 top priority. The bond passed with 70% approval rating. In a recent survey regarding increasing security for safer schools, the parents supported perimeter fencing by 75%, staff by 75%, and community members, non-parents and non-staff by 55%. The same survey regarding increasing security for safer schools, the parents supported interior fencing for the school campuses, fields and such by 72%, staff by 78%, and community members, non-parents and non-staff by 55%. Community themes, when we cluster them up in the comment, were 3: increase security for our schools and facilities, provide access to the public, and protect the trees and wetlands. Consideration. The district's priority is student safety. The district is responsible to secure and preserve CSD facilities for school and extracurricular activities. The federal school safety plan includes school grounds, campus, and school grounds perimeter fencing for proactive safety barriers and crime prevention. Legal counselors recommend that the district follows the guidance of the Lane County Sheriff's Office assessment and the Federal School Security Guide. The community surveys support increasing security for safer schools. The Bond Oversight Committee reached 100% consensus that security fencing was appropriate use of bond funds. Some community members would like to continue with some to full access of the district's property and schools. Those are things to consider in my decision making. My recommendation, after considering the information presented to the board above, right, I am recommending that we move forward with the school grounds campus and school grounds perimeter fencing to develop 2 additional layers of security to make our schools safer for students and staff. As such, I would initiate action to do the following. Develop a plan for school grounds fencing around all 3 campuses and their facilities to include fields, playgrounds, etc. And that the community have measured access to the fields via facilities usage process, which is the same procedure that we provide for facilities use inside of our school buildings. 2, develop a plan for perimeter fencing to decrease perimeter entry points to 4, which would include the north, west, east, and south entry gates. The public would have access to the grounds after school hours until the evening, and on weekends until the evening as well. However, the district would fully secure the property at all hours if additional security and criminal activity warranted. In developing these plans, the district will protect the wetlands and the trees on our school grounds and perimeter fence line. And 4, the district will complete the survey of the property lines and communicate the property survey results to the east and west property line neighbors. As safety and security is our #1 priority, and the Federal Security Agency guidelines for schools identify campus grounds and perimeter grounds fencing for security barriers to proactively increase safety. And the Lane County Sheriff's Office recommends both layers of fencing for security and school safety. And our staff and parents overwhelmingly support these safety measures. Installing the fencing on both layers is the right thing to do, and it's what is best for the safety of our students. That's where we're at. That's my recommendation.
I'll try to share some comments and some summaries of different conversations that I've had over the past month about that. I had several folks mention, they pay property taxes, they want access to the property. And right or wrong, my view, what I've provided back to try to have a deeper conversation with them about the problem has been the core mission of the school district is to educate kids K through 12. While we would love to be able to provide facilities to the general community, providing land access and, track and field, because they've primarily been runners who enjoy running on the track. And I hate taking away access for that, but they're not in K-12, they're not our target audience. And when we have scarce funds, like having to constantly upkeep the track and the field for the students, it's hard to prioritize that. This district has had, when you look longer term, we've struggled with being able to provide sports and education. And when we came down to it, we had to cut sports for a period of time in order to fund education. And so I don't want additional funds funneled off in order to keep facilities updated and keep them safe, just so that we can continue the sports and the education when a lot of this is happening after school hours. So that's been what I've shared, just so that you guys are hearing my message when I have conversations. I appreciate Mike's proposal in developing plans to further secure it. I don't think we have any choice but to do so. Otherwise, we're going to continue to have an increased cost in fixing the facilities. I hate closing things off because I like to use some of those facilities on the weekend as well. The other thing I will let you guys know is I've been doing some research into what other districts do in situations like this, where they're having to cut off an asset that the community feels is good. So I'm still having conversations with some of those districts to learn, and so I told Mike, like, this is a great plan, and everything they're doing still includes, that's what still includes access to a secured site. So over time, if I come across any program that looks like we may be able to take an opportunity, I told Mike, like, I may be coming back with more opportunities just to see if we can figure out a way to allow students to have access to it. But again, all of those programs that I'm seeing, like in the state of Washington, what they're doing, they're already secured, right? So it's limited access. So this plan is, I think it's a good plan to move forward with. So those are my thoughts and my conversations that I've had over the last month with folks.
I would agree with you that, like, when I've reached out to and talked to people outside of our community in different communities, they have like voiced that they're surprised that we haven't already had our campus closed. And that's just like some of our neighboring schools that I have friends that have kids in, and, or they work there, and they expressed that we're not the same as they are, and we're one of the last ones in the county, I think, that don't have that infrastructure to the level that our neighbors do. So. All right, any further?
I just want to say, I fully appreciate that it's not closed off all the time, that there will be community access, in the evenings, and that piece is added. Because I think a big piece of the conversation is that this is one of the few spaces people have, even though it may not be our responsibility. That is, something that people bring up is like, this is because I have to go walk or potentially run. But my stance on this in my conversations is I do think during school hours, like, I really strongly stand behind the fact that community members should probably not be walking their dogs or using the campus while our students are in class, that is just a huge safety concern to me. But I appreciate that there is thoughtfulness and mindfulness around the community in this, Mike, that you were saying, like, look, we'll keep it open for certain sections of time. It may be limited, but our students come first. So I do appreciate that. Because I think right now it's just so open. And it does seem unsafe having a student who attends class.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard to know if the Blaine County Sheriff has done an assessment and said we should do it. It's hard to say that we shouldn't. Especially if someone was get hurt, or heaven forbid, I heard recently a dog on campus and a kid running with the dog that was on the leash, heaven forbid that dog got hurt. That would be horrible. It's tough, I'm with you. I come out here all the time and we practice and we do all kinds of stuff, and that's tough, but at the same time, I have the same experience Doug does. And I'm picking up things off our field before we practice that I hope our kids don't see. And that makes me sad for our kids too. So it's a double-edged sword, and I think the reality is we have an obligation to protect our kids first and foremost. We also have an obligation to protect the money we just spent, the community's money we just spent, also in a lot of ways. I don't want to cut off access to everyone, and we can't make anything happen if we don't create some fencing and security. At least that gives us options for when we want to open and close. Right now, we have no option.
Correct.
It's just over. So I think there leaves room for a middle ground. To say, are there opportunities to have more access, to have less access? We can find the right thing to do, but right now we can't do it. It's just open.
I agree with that. And I also think, like, some of the questions I have in this is, like, you know, summertime, maybe is there a possibility that we could have some extended access? Maybe we have a set time to open for field. It's like an open field time where kids want to come if there is like some adult supervision or something, you know. I mean, I think that the point in the facility use request is accountability, right? So who's going to be accountable for whatever's taking place in that time? But I do think, you know, maybe looking at having some facilitated time that kids could come through a football, maybe during the summertime, so it's not, when it's not used by the sports teams, right, for example. But looking at that process and what that looks like, to support the students in those off times. I mean, I don't know, I know, Joel, there's a form, right? I mean, like, right now, you just fill out a form.
Right.
Okay. So, I mean, it seems like a pretty simple thing to do.
It's a fairly easy process. I just went through the process. It's one of the facilities here, so I mean, it's not like it's very easy to find. He helped me, so I think that if, you know, meeting members can.
So it's not a big ask from the community if they did use the space. It's simply, you know, having a representative that is probably an adult saying, I will make sure that the space is cared for and closed. And we'll leave. Yeah.
I move to approve the security fencing proposal as presented.
A second.
All in favor? Nothing you really understand of that, that's what I have to say. All right, our next item on the agenda. Would be the board training dates, within them. Did you guys all read my email that he sent with those dates on it? That for availability for our, board training.
So he gave us one Thursday. I told him we were looking for Wednesdays after the first week. And he did, and he threw out one Thursday, which is the 4th of January, the first day he's available after the break. And no, that's a tough one for us to pull up and get into, but anyway, from then on, all the rest of the dates are all Wednesdays.
I can just start. I'm not available in the month of March, but
I'm not available in January or February.
oh, it's more important for you, and I could probably zoom in, right? Like, I don't feel like I'm not. I'm just gonna be in Arizona.
We'll so rough.
For the whole month.
Well, that's
I work from home.
Yeah, so I think that you guys pick whatever and I can zoom into it because I've done it before and I think it's far more important and probably for Mary to go than me.
If there is a date and time that works, and it's in the evening, I could probably zoom in, but I will be traveling Wednesday through Friday every week for 8 weeks.
For January and February. So let's just maybe push out to March and see if there's a day that works, because I can totally. do it. I'm not gonna be.
Just not spring break.
Yeah, no, let's not do spring break. I didn't look at the March dates that he offered because I was like. My guess is the 6th, 13th, the 20th, and the 27th. Did any of those look good for anybody else?
I can do the first two, but I
Maybe
think
we should just set it for the 6th. Is that what looks good for you, Tim? And Sarah got to go on vacation, so she's just gonna come. I'll just tell her.
No more
It's in
vacation,
the evening. It's in the, it's like a 4:35 thing, is that what you're?
whatever we decide.
Yeah, it's whatever we decide, it's in the evening.
I can handle most evenings, most months.
Okay.
So,
So let's just plan on the 6th then, if everybody, is that something we have to,
which one?
March?
March, six
Do we
and
have to? I don't think so. I don't think there's an action on my thing, but I don't think it's that action.
See, that's why I can. I'm flexible, but at the latest in the evening, we can push it better, because that'll be spring sports time.
All right,
We'll start.
so let's just plan on the 6th, and then we can
Okay, we'll work out a time.
time, we'll figure out a time, but
What's
I
the
mean, we've
earliest?
got a little bit of,
What's the earliest you guys wanna go?
I think probably, I don't know, Tim.
5:30 would probably be the earliest I could do.
Oh, okay.
Well, on second thought, if we do need to go earlier, I could probably swing 4:30 to 5. I'd be willing to get out of work early that day for that. So I can come.
I would
Five.
love earlier, but I don't know, I heard.
I don't know what Sarah's schedule is either.
I will make it when I make it. I'll try to leave approximately, if it works for everyone, I'm fine.
Okay.
We'll
We can
look
meet
around
on
5 to 5:30.
So
He's
she's
got,
got-
he's got,
He's gotta travel.
he's got to drive,
So
so
let's,
we'll see what.
he says, and then we can put it out. And we have a couple more.
Yeah, 5 to 5:30
Date.
on the 6th.
On the 6th.
That's progress.
That is progress.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, thank you for taking
Well,
care of that.
absolutely.
Right, next item is information from Mike Bruff.
The bargaining update, yeah, so, just wanted to bring you all up to speed, and I'll do these on a monthly basis in our board meetings so that we're all on the same page. So I, had agreed to 2 dates in February for bargaining. And my optimism says we can do this by spring break. And the CEA responded and proposed 10 bargaining dates and informed me that they would like to have an agreement by June. So I think they got a lot to talk about if they want 10 4-hour meeting. 3-hour meeting, so. We'll see how that goes, but this is my first update. Along with that, knowing what's out there, on the horizon and what's behind us on the trail that's come through in this year's bargaining, I'd like to schedule an executive session meeting to discuss labor relations with our legal counsel, Rebecca Jacobson. And she's available on January 10th from 6 to 6:30. That's our board meeting, our next board meeting.
Okay.
If that would be all right with all of you, we benefit from having,
Would we just push the
Session.
meeting to start at 7 instead of?
the meeting would start at 6 and we'd adjourn to executive session and then the
Okay.
meeting would reopen
Okay.
in public session at 6:30. That good? Anybody?
Yeah.
questions?
So this is a bit of a tangent, but I was gonna ask, so that January board meeting, is it the same time that the high school is having their curriculum night? So, like as a parent, I'd love to go to the curriculum night, but then we have, so I don't know if there's an opportunity to move to the board meeting.
I won't be here if it's on the. And
Like, I'm just throwing more logistics in,
I mean, so,
so,
yeah, I'm saying if you moved it, I could potentially.
and I'll make a choice if it stays. I just wanted to point out that there was.
Have a meeting, that's like, people change the day of a meeting, well, I already posted, right?
Yeah, we changed the dates when I did our beers. We've done it before with other things. It just has to make sense.
The night. On
The day before,
Tuesday?
yeah.
Okay, I'll check with
Yeah,
her.
because then Mary would be in town still, and then.
So you're not available on the 11th then? So what about the 8th or 9th?
Day or
To
night,
give her an option?
yeah, a Monday or Tuesday, I'm open.
And if not, then we'll have to look at the next week.
Thank you for considering that.
Oh, yeah,
No,
no,
thank you.
What's on the next week? Is everybody available the next week, Wednesday?
Not Wednesday through Friday, I agree with
Wednesday,
that.
Friday,
Monday, Tuesdays?
the only
only
Monday.
Monday, Tuesday.
Okay, so
Which
that's,
Monday is Martin Luther King's Day that week. I feel like we're really like, we should all like have a giant Google calendar. Out, because it's like keep moving everybody's schedules around, but.
okay, then that gives me 4 dates. We'll get one.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay.
Probably not January 15th.
Not the 15th, but January 15th is,
You should be off that day.
Yeah,
you're gonna take that.
sure.
Alright, sorry to interrupt. Did you have any more?
Yeah.
Okay. Moving right along, wonderful. It was
He's
great.
not gonna propose anything.
No, he's like, no more calendar items for these people tonight, so we're done. And then the next item is just discussion of the OSBA convention, that we have a number of us attended in November. Sarah gotta go, and Sarah, and Lacey, and I, and Mike. How was it? I thought it was good. I enjoyed a number of the things that I attended.
I did too. I'm right now trying to remember what I attended. I remember one particular.
I was thinking that I wish I had my notebook of the notes I took, but I did actually enjoy when we were with the other, districts.
Yeah.
The other districts.
The round table.
The round table. That one, I thought that was really good, and it was nice to see other people, where they are and where we are.
The,
And it felt good.
yeah,
To be Creswell, Oregon.
that session was a real eye opener.
Yeah.
The regional one with all of the districts in our county. And that really, I mean, you know, they talked about some of the highlights of their districts and also some of the challenges that they're having. And the challenges by far outweigh the highlights that came forward. And I mean, I was just kind of listening and thinking, oh my gosh, you know, how can anybody help those, you know, with those challenges? They have to work real and, out there in some places. I really feel fortunate on how cohesive we are. And
That's what I brought away from it. Was that we are very cohesive for this is it.
And the keynote speakers and their messages were off the charts. I mean, they just had really good ones, and we were fortunate to hear Sarita talk. She was the keynote speaker and she's an author. And Debbie and I were like, oh my God, we were sitting next to each other, like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I mean,
Yeah,
those are good. I mean, that's good stuff. So we agreed that the book would be good for us as a board to have. And
Are we gonna read it
get some
together?
of these.
That's what I hope when I saw
yeah.
it.
Are we really? We should. Well, that's what is such a nerd. You should. We
Sorry,
should
make
make
a comment.
I think we should. I think we should read it together, and I.
If you can't say something nice. What?
Love it, nerd.
Okay.
So, but we have some good.
Yeah.
Thanks, you guys. No, she was really, really fun to watch, and I know that Mike and I think everything else has taken off about the you gotta watch her. Great.
We couldn't leave.
We couldn't-
We stayed because she
She
was
was
done.
done. And the gentleman the day before was, we all got to hang out here. It was amazing.
He was.
He was so entertaining.
Oh my, and so energetic. I just want a little bit of energy.
Well, it's because he's partly comedian,
Yeah.
like he's comedic.
Yeah.
Off the cuff, like
Yeah.
improv comedy at the same time, but with a really impactful message.
Mhm.
So it was very engaging.
Overall, I think it was a great conference. There were a few logistical things I think were a little bit off, but that is more of a figuring it out thing, but as far as.
So I do think, like, every one of our principals that holds assemblies needs to use the comedy and how he addressed it when people walked out during.
Oh,
So because
They're not
Jenny's here, I just gotta tell you, I literally think about this, and when our city manager, when our city manager holds meetings, I was thinking like, I need to tell her this. But he opened keynote, and then somebody, of course, in the middle, right, you get out, you go to the bathroom, so somebody's walking through. He has somebody cue the song, Baby Come Back, and he literally stops the whole thing. And makes it all about the person that's walking out, and she's turning red. And then he has the song cued for when she comes back. I can't remember what that was, but it was like, it was hilarious. Nobody got up to leave.
Yeah, nobody left. I mean, you were gonna sit there. Not use phone calls for that. It's different when it's teenager. You use it at staff meetings too.
Anyway, just hilarious. He had some pretty good stay in your seat moments.
Yeah. We weren't moving, we weren't budging after that.
He nailed them if they were texting on their phone
Oh,
too, or reading emails or whatever, and we got one in on him, it's not proper to say, but he really,
Yeah,
he got, put them in a predicament.
it was good.
So, yeah, it was good. It was nice to be back. I hadn't been back in a couple of years, so I think it's a good thing. So, all right. Moving on to our new business. We have a whole slew of things here. We have a motion to approve the Lane ESG.
And move to approve the Lane ESD local service plan for 2023-2025.
It's like,
Serenaded there.
All right, so, any discussion, sorry. About the ESG plan, Kate, tell me what over tonight, and some opportunities to talk to him about it.
Yeah.
All right, so any discussion regarding that, none, okay. All in favor? All right. All opposed? Okay. All right. Everyone, did you get all that?
Motion passes.
Yeah. All right, the next item is for Joel. The action to approve the motion to approve the contract.
I move to approve the contract with McKenzie Commercial Contractors for the Creswell High School gym seismic rehabilitation project. So,
second.
oh, thank you.
And do we have?
Sorry,
No, yeah, you're fine.
I thought you were done
I know.
and you weren't.
I just should have.
It's fine. Okay, and then, any discussion on that? Do you have any questions for anybody, or Joel, do you have anything that you want to share with
This
us?
is just, this is the natural occurrence. Last month, you approved
Yeah,
the
we-
recommendation, this is the contract, and this was reviewed by legal counsel, and we're ready to move on it.
Awesome, okay, all in favor? Okay, motion passes. There you go. I'm crushing it, and it's quickly over here. Okay, next item. Approve the FIA grant agreement.
I move to approve the FIA grant agreement for 2023-2024. Second.
Any discussion or information on that item? I don't know.
It's noted on the website. I did that job. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll bring those later, I'll put them in brief.
Yeah, we're gonna bring them post to every meeting. And fill it up. All right, okay, so all in favor? Okay, motion passes. Okay. There's so many today. We're like, this is gonna be a fascinating.
You're doing great. We're
Okay.
pushing through it.
Okay, so,
I move to approve the Creswell High School travel request.
second, okay. Any discussion? Nothing? Okay, perfect. All right, all in favor? Great. Motion approved. Yay. Yay.
The discussion is, it's a wonderful
Yeah.
idea.
I think we had a lot of discussion. Well, if I don't say it, and it's a discussion, and then I go, okay, forgot to say it. I know. All right, next item.
I move to approve the 2023-2024 budget calendar.
I second.
Okay, any discussion regarding this? All right, I think the only thing I wanted to bring up was posting budget commission positions. Should we discuss it after, or should we? We have how many open? We'll have five open positions. So, I know. So we need to probably get that posted on the website. I don't know who does that, but you're yelling a minute ago, now she's bringing her phone. Anyway,
Do we have to make a motion to?
do we need to approve it first, or do we have to?
No, you can just discuss it.
Okay,
You can have
perfect. So-
consensus. Do you want me to post it?
I think that we should post it, and then we have a few that we're gonna reach out to, right?
Yes, we have 3 that have
Tried
been
and
on
true.
for a number of years.
And
And I
years
can
past,
reach out.
we have to beg other people, so be putting on your thinking caps to figure out who would want to be on the budget committee. So, I think that would be the only thing, let's do that. All right, all in favor? The budget calendar? Okay, motion passes. Oh, this one's a big one. Okay, this is the OSBA election vote. Okay, so we have a number of them to go through. The first one is the 2023 election, board position 6, Linda Hamilton. I think on this, we're just gonna all vote, whether she doesn't have an opponent, so we'll vote in favor or against, and then we'll move through all of them. So, the first one is for Linda Hamilton, election of the 2023 position 6, all in favor, right? Yeah. Okay, that's 4, all opposed. All right. The first one. The second is the election of Judy Newman to position 6 for the legal policy committee. All in favor? All right, motion passes here, whatever we're all. The next one is the 2023 resolution of the rural caucus voting status for OSBA board. These are just resolutions and we're gonna adopt them. So if, all in favor of adopting resolution number 1? Okay. One favor. All in favor of adopting resolution number 2? Right.
You're doing good.
Okay, and then. That is all of them. I don't need the bylaws law. That's the information, right? Okay. That is all for all of that. Marilyn, did you get all those?
Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you. Moving along, I think we have a budget update.
My part?
Yeah. Yeah, the budget.
Well, okay, so did you get to review the financials that I sent to this month? Any questions on any of those for those funds? The one thing I wanted to bring to your attention was, so Esther, oh, sorry, really financial stuff? In your regular report that you produce, is that what you're referring to, under the extras? Like it's the regular business manager report under extras, it won't be under the quick view.
Gotcha, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, I should not.
No, okay. All I wanted to talk, because I don't want to steal Mike's thunder, he has, a pretty presentation of graphs. But, you guys have been hearing how the ESSER funds are expiring this year. So 2024, ESSER 3 is ending, and there's no, new federal relief funding coming in. But currently, this is 23-24 budget year, we have $1.6 million in our budget that's being covered by those. With 1.4 of that being staffing, the other couple $100,000 being operational items that will be needed next year, 24-25. So we have a $1.6 million gap. that we are going to need to reconcile and absorb in our general fund or some new grant that we don't know about yet. I just wanted to make you aware of that.
Good highlight, thank you.
Get you in the holiday spirit. And, what you're receiving now, and this isn't new news, this is, this has been presented to you in previous years, the previous 2 years, while we were forecasting our budget and along with our budget plan and how we were filling that gap between our staffing and our declining student enrollment. And you can see that, from 2019-20 at 1,318 kids down to 112 kids. We've taken quite a hit in a reduction in state school funding, for student funding. Simultaneously, we've increased staffing since 2019-20 from 148 staff to 167 FTE. And a lot of that came in with the SIA grants and the relief funding. You know, we had 3 ESSER grants. The first 2 we were able to bring in, and the first one supported us with going to distance learning, mobilizing the entire student body and staff on distance learning. And then the second one came in, and that was to provide supports for students when we came off of distance learning. And a lot of SEL, social emotional learning, and then also academic support. I mean, we really brought in a lot of adults so that we could, you know, break the ratio down and have fewer students per adult in the building, and we've been maintaining that with ESSER 3. So while the student enrollment has been going down, and we're looking at $1 million deficit there, when we're looking at 1,300 to 1,100 million plus, that's a decrease, $1 million plus over 5 years, and increase in staffing costs. You can see in the graph below it, where we're at. I mean, they pretty much, the state has held us without much of an increase in cost of living across the board. In fact, this next year we get a 2% increase. A 2% increase on a roll forward budget. That doesn't really help us cover that gap. It doesn't, I mean, with our current responsibilities of staffing, 2% isn't gonna cut it. That's a step increase. That's what a step increase costs us, 2%. That's not a COLA. Doesn't cover a COLA. So, we were prepared. We've been talking about the 24-25 cliff coming and how we were pushing our budget and using those ESSER funds to get us through 24-25. And we've done the best that we can to maintain our staffing, to support our kids, and still be responsible with our budget. By law, our budget has to meet. So anyway, a lot of stuff out there, or this cliff in 24-25 is really wreaking havoc right now in districts across the state. We worked hard to manage our funds to stay, to be able to get through this year. Making any of those drastic measures happen. But now we're looking out into the next year and the following year. And, you know, we've taken some reduction in staffing through attrition, but by not filling positions as they become vacant at certain grade levels or schools. But hard to do at the secondary level. because they're all specialized. Subject area. So anyway, we'll keep working at it on our end. And adjusting to the student enrollment by grade level. But, really need the state to step up and do something. So we can provide the quality education that our kids deserve.
Read.
Item is the information for the state of Oregon grant. Do you have information on that one, or was that just something on that?
That was just in your report
Okay.
information.
Perfect.
Mhm.
All right. Next item, trustee reports. There.
I went to a conference and I learned a lot. It was really good. And I got to know you guys a little bit better, which was fun for the attendees that were there. But my main takeaway from it was a session that I went to on the role of the superintendent and the board and like how to have like positive communication and relationship. And so it really talked about like each, like our role versus Mike's role and like what we can talk about and cannot talk about and what is our, where we should, you know, be putting our efforts, which was really good for me. I think as a new board member, it was really helpful. I learned a lot about the future of our, the state of affairs that are gonna happen for the state as far as funding. And so, in our regional, session, I guess you could call it, I was paired with somebody who, in my group, who was from a larger district and talking about the impact of like how funding can potentially happen. So it was just like looking to the future and how changes might happen. That I was completely not aware of. So it was like a big learning where I was like, wait, I have a million questions. But it was really good. And I made it for like half of a boys basketball game. That's all I had. So,
I tried to shut it off. I'm sorry, that's somebody calling my office.
Oh.
Sorry, personal,
Okay, Lacey. I also attended the conference and it was fantastic in an effort so that we can all try to get to the winter choir concert at the high school. I made it to the middle school one last night and Mr. Telfer, as always, does a great job. Start on time, end on time, great songs, keeps it going. The kids were excited. There was a lot in the front row, like he put all the ones that like to just dance and how to feel the music.
I know there's fun.
It is very fun. I had a great time last night.
Good. Yeah. Tim, do you have anything?
I attended a diversity program at work last week, and that relates to this to some extent, and that's about it.
I also attended an advice training that worked this last week with Dr. Marks, we're included in this meeting. I had our leadership meeting and I watched a handful of basketball games online because I couldn't make it, but it is nice to be able to watch them online when we can't go.
Kind of that month, right? Like we had a lot of kind of transitioning into winter and doing stuff. And I went to OSBA training and leadership. And I finished my vector training, so I can stop getting those emails. Oh, hey, I finished. I've done it for like a couple of districts. I'm pretty sure I did it for different districts this year. So I'm very, very trained on all of the things. But I think that's it. Did we want to try to read a chapter of this book, read chapter 1? And like the next item was work goals, so I think that would be kind of fun. It's not a super long chapter, so I think that we can do it, even if you have to do it in the parking lot before you walk in. I think we've got the chapter. It's 4 pages. It's the shortest I love. Okay. All right. Bethany, 4 pages. All right.
Am I also required to read chapters?
All right, and that is everything. Did we get another order?
Yeah.
All right, yeah.